Helles Schlenkerla Lagerbier.
And remember, life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. Today, more beer from Bavaria, Bamberg to be exact, and this is the Schlenkerla Helles Lagerbier, but this is the special edition. Now, if you look on my channel, and if ever I say this, where I'm talking about beers and I say if you look up on the channel, just use the search function on the channel and it will have a list of all the beers if you put the correct search terms in. I'm just looking at this glass, it is absolutely disgusting. I cannot use that. That needs to go back in the dishwasher. Do apologise for that. Well, you never saw it, so I'm not apologising, bollocks. No, but if you want to look up, if I mention stuff on the channel, look it up through the search option on the channel. If you just go to the actual channel page, there's a search button there. Just put the term in there, and it will bring up the relevant videos. But what I was trying to say was I've reviewed most of the Schlenkerla stuff, certainly the Marzen, which was different to say the least. But I've also reviewed their Weizen and I've reviewed their Helles as well. This is a special edition Helles because it's been unfiltered, and this only comes out every now and again, so I'm quite privileged to be able to get hold of this. And this brewery have quite a rich history. They go back to 1405. They were originally founded by Dominican monks, but the first documentation doesn't appear till 1485, when there is mention of coopers on the site of where the pub is now, and that is was known as De Blauw Leuven or something like that. It basically translates to the Blue Lion, and they've been going ever since. I've been looking up their chronological history, and there's a bit of a gap between 1939 and 45, so safe to say that it was probably had the shit bombed out of it by the Allies during World War II, but they're back doing their stuff. And it's interesting because they're quite a small operation. They're based in Bamberg, as I say. The brewery is based by the tavern, but they have massive caves that they use for lagering all their beers, and it has quite a wide distribution, if you like, and certainly over Germany. I've got a mate who lives in northern Germany, northwest Germany, northwest Germany, and he gets this on a regular basis, and it's very cheap. I'll go over the price after I've tasted the beer. It is an acquired taste, this beer. I've, as I say, reviewed the Marzen, and that completely knocked me for six. It's a dark beer. It tastes heavily of bacon, would you believe? Bacon and smoke. Now, I'm assuming that the smokiness on there is giving that bacon style flavour mixed with the quite sweet malt, and the hops that are in this basically come from Nuremberg as well. But the difference with this is, and the other Helles that they do, the filtered Helles, is it's been brewed in the same copper kettles that all the smoke beer has been brewed. And the smoke beer gets its smokiness because they use wood to fire and dry out all the malt. And obviously the roasted flavours from the malt are in there as well. But you also get the smokiness that comes from the wood, and that is really prominent in the flavour of the beer. Some people might not like it. It really is different, and you really do get that taste of smokiness. And put it this way, if you're not a fan of the intense bitterness that you get on a stout, I don't think you'll like it. But I liked it. I thought it was quite interesting, and I've tried it since. And as I say, I've tried the Weizen. I wasn't too sure about the Weizen. I don't think that worked, but it worked with the Marzen, and it worked with the unfiltered Helles. So now I'm going to try the unfiltered Helles. So let's give it a go. before we start, I think I'm getting a bit of a cold or something, so I hope it's not COVID. I've got my jab in a couple of days. That's how fucking old I am. The sniffing that goes, I do apologise, I just can't help it sometimes. I have been blowing my nose all day as well. 4.3%, 500ml bottle. It is a smoky, unfiltered lager. And it says on it, Hellas Schlenkerla Lager receives its subtle smokiness through bottom fermentation with yeast from Schlenkerla Lagerbier, regular Hellas there's a full stop there. Regular Hellas lager is clear and yeastless due to filtration before bottling. This specially unfiltered edition, however, retains natural haziness of the yeast with its clear, fresh and smoky character. A rare and special treat, not only for smoke beer lovers. Interesting. Of course, it conforms to the Reinheitsgebot. There is the label. Now, if you can see that fella there, that's where the name comes from. Schlenkerla roughly translate from Franconian dialect to mean dangle, and that's where this fella comes in, because he's a bit unsteady on his feet, and they do play on that, saying that that's what happens if you drink too much Schlenkerla. But the original, or the legal name of the brewery, is Hellerbrau Trum, and that's when they're signing all documents and stuff, but everybody knows it as Schlenkerla. And that, as I say, that is a Franconian slang term for a wobbly gait. So there you go. Let's get it home. Let's see what's going on. Alright, it's getting quite warm out there now. So I've got a few lagers in the fridge, and there'll be not much winter beer. Hopefully Cap is just plain silver, by the way. There'll be not much winter beer, but if I do come across a Doppelbock, you can bet your ass I will be trying that. But I have got quite a few lagers to review, so watch this space. Oh, I'm just going to get this into a glass. I could not put it into the other glass. That was absolutely disgusting. The legendary dishwasher strikes again. Oh, I can smell that from here. Very rich malt, grass and lemon citrus. Really, really subtle hint of smoke on it as well. It's really subtle, and I remember this from the Hellas as well. The smokiness does come from the residue that's left in the kettles from the full-on smoky beer that uses the roasted malts. There is in the glass. There's a hell of a lot of carbonation in that. Head is huge. I've tried to pour that correctly as well. There's that nice, I call it bacon, but I think it's a mixture of the smoke and the malt, and when that combines, the sweetness and the smokiness combine, and it does give it is a sort of a bacony type smell. And who doesn't like bacon? I fucking love the stuff. Anyway, let's get this down the hatch. Zum Wohl, as they say in Germany. Quite nice, but I haven't managed to get it all in here because, well, that finish. There's your bacon right there. You can imagine bready malt. It's like a bacon sandwich. If you can imagine that. Bacon sandwich beer. Now, I haven't managed to get all the yeast, suspended yeast, in there because the head is so big and the carbonation is so big. So I'm going to attempt to get that in there now, but if you can see, there is a little bit of a haze on it. But the head is huge. And there's still some left in the bowl. Let me take another gobful and I will give you another opinion. The head, I can't get over it. That's really good. There's a bitter finish which you think is going to be really astringent. Then that finish kicks in. The bacon sandwich finish kicks in. And it's really nice. The more you drink, the more of that smoky flavour that you get. Now there's all the residue gone in there, and that's how cloudy it is. There is a bit of a cloud fest going on there. I can't get over that finish, how long it lasts, and how nice it is. It's bread, dough, a smokiness to it, and what I'm perceiving to be a hop bitterness. Now that could be the smoky malt that's taken on that smoky character, or it could actually be the hops. They're very bitter hops though, so I'm wondering whether they've been thrown in really early in the boil. That's really good. Alright, this is a creeper. The more you drink, the more moorish it gets. It's very full bodied as well. One thing I will say about it, this has, as I say, it's got the characteristics of the smoky beer, but it hasn't got the intensity. And these flavours I'm describing are subtle. To the untrained beer drinker, if you like, they're not really going to pick up them flavours too quickly. I'm sure that's a hop bitterness that's coming through on the end, which it's the sort of bitterness that you get, and some people call it an astringency. I don't think it's an astringency. I think it's just a bitterness that you get from hops, and you do tend to find them in German Pilsners, and that's coming through here. But it's also got the smoky characteristics, so it's a bit hard to determine, but there's definite hop character in this as well. And I have to say, it is not bad at all. So what's the verdict on Helles Schlenkerla Lagerbier? Yeah, it is not bad at all. I've got others from this lot on the channel and I quite like them. This is a beer that's quite subtle. It's not as intensely smoky as the Marzen, the Weizen. They do a Doppelbock as well, which I'd be really intrigued to try. But this isn't at that level of intensity. This is one of these beers that is quite refreshing, but it's very flavoursome. For a Helles, most German lagers or Helleses are quite tasty, but this one has just got a little bit more depth of taste to it, and it's got a little bit more body to it as well. It could be just the flavours that is giving that impression, but it is nice. Now, the difference between the filtered and the unfiltered, I'd have to try them side by side. I do not remember anything really characteristic apart from the smokiness on the unfiltered one. This one has got, as I say, it's got a little bit more body, so it could be the flavours, or it could actually be the yeast that's giving it that perception. But either way, it's nice. And it's got a lovely finish, that lovely bready bacon finish. It's subtle, but it's long lasting. I quite like it. Now, one thing I will say to you is the price. This came from the House of Trembling Madness up in the People's Republic of Yorkshire. And I'll just get my price list from them. And I'll tell you what, they are not bad for German beers, and in fact they do quite decent Belgian beers as well. Now that costs £2.60, right? In Germany they pay €1.70 for a bottle of that, so that shows you how much, even though, you know, we've left the EU, I imagine it would still be the same, and it will just show you how much we are being charged for good German beer and how much they pay over there. That works two ways because they pay a little bit more for British beer. So that is the trade-off. As for this stuff, yeah, I quite like it. Is it the best Helles I've tried? No, but it's definitely different. I quite like it. I can imagine that being a creeper. If you drink this ice cold, it's very refreshing. That is just above chilled at the moment. It came straight out of the fridge. And all in all, I think this is another winner from Schlenkerla. I'm going to give that, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10, and I think that is the best I can do for this. It's not quite up there with the 10s. You know, there are some really good Helleses out there. I think this has just got a little bit too much going on in the flavour to make it one of them beers that you just want to drink and drink and drink. These ones, or this beer, I think you have to savour it a little bit more. The aromas are getting even bigger now, and there's a slightly perfumey aroma that I'm getting. Or is that perfumey bacon? I don't know. It really is. I mean, it's worth trying. I mean, bacon flavoured beer. Fucking hell. You can't go wrong with it, can you? Sounds terrible, but it's not. It's really good. I really like it. 8.5 out of 10. Recommended. And remember, beer is working class champagne.